Alright guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we are going to be doing a recap and review of episode 1 from season 2 of The Last of Us series. So before we actually get into it, first of all, spoiler warning. I repeat, spoiler warning because the episode just came out. And two, what I also want to do with these series is do backgrounds and stuff like that, just like I do with my other reviews. So if you do not know, The Last of Us is actually a video game, and it was released through Sony, for PlayStation exclusive by Naughty Dog. They were the developing, the development company made it, everything like that. The first game released in 2013 on June 14th. Then it got a remaster a year later, and then The Last of Us Part 2 came out in June 19th, 2020. The first game sold 30 million copies, while the second game sold more than 10 million. So it's a pretty successful franchise. And if you guys don't know, if you haven't seen the show or you think it's, all hype, whatever like that, it does star Pedro Pascal as Joel, and it stars Bella Ramsey as Ellie, the two main characters of the games and of the show. So, without any further background, let's just go into the episode. So, the episode starts off with kind of where season 1 ended off with, and that is Ellie basically making Joel swear that he didn't do anything bad in terms of getting her out of that hospital. If you do not know, at the end of season 1 and at the end of the first game, because like I said, it's taken from the game, he is immune to the infection that basically turned the world into, an apocalypse or whatever. And she's immune to it, so they wanted to make a vaccine, but to do so, they'd have to kill her by basically taking the cordyceps, I think it is, out of her brain and making a vaccine. Joel wasn't going for that, as he had basically grown accustomed to Ellie and seeing her as like his daughter. So he ended up basically killing the doctors and getting her out of there. So she kind of suspected that he did something like that. So she said, swear to me that you didn't. And he said he didn't. But after we get that scene, we then see Abby, who is the main villain of the second game, and her group, as they buried basically some of the people who Joel had killed in the hospital at the end of season 1, and they're kind of talking about it, grieving about it, and Abby swears that they are going to find him and kill him. So then the show goes 5 years into the future. Ellie is 19. Joel is older. I forget his exact age, but she's training. She's fighting some big dude trying to get better at fighting, gets like punched in the face and ends up putting him in a submission, almost breaking his arm or leg. Um, so then after that, we find out Joel's in therapy, and him and Ellie aren't on the best of terms, as Ellie is mad at him. And then from there, the episode goes into Ellie is practicing using a new scope on her rifle with Tommy, Joel's brother, and he wants to take her off patrols because Joel's worried about her, but Ellie argues and convinces Tommy that she's okay, especially because she's immune, even though Tommy and Joel doesn't want her to talk about her being immune. Then we see Joel's talking with Tommy's wife, explaining that they can't, like, basically keep repairing the settlement and adding new things to the settlement with as many people as they keep bringing in, and that it's kind of tough, but he's trying his best. Joel goes to his therapy appointment and explains that, Ellie isn't talking to him. She moved into the garage and, you know, stuff like that, but he's trying to give her space. He feels that she's not treating him like a human, and his therapist actually confronts him about him lying, basically, like he's holding something back, like he's not telling the exact situation of why she's angry at him, and he knows that he killed her husband. Yes, that was kind of, I was like, oh shit. So Joel killed his therapist's husband, and she said like, "Oh, I know, he gave you, left you no choice, and I'm angry at you, but I basically am trying to learn to forgive you for that." So she tries to convince Joel to basically say what's on his mind, and he just says, "I saved her," with one tear coming down his face, and leaves. So, Ellie goes on her patrol, and her best friend Dina, who's also a main character from the second game, encounter encounter a building with infected. As they're checking it out, Ellie falls through to a floor below, and they run into a stalker infected, which I think is the first time they've seen one. So after it attacks her and bites her, but because she's immune, she doesn't get infected. They kill the stalker infected, and they tell Tommy and the council about it just to let them know. So later on, Ellie then puts like a piece of infected, like the bite out or whatever like that. Joel comes in trying to just kind of make conversation and just see what she's up to, sees that her guitar needs tuning and says, "I'll bring it back to you tomorrow. Let me fix it." Um, but also he had asked her if she was going to go to that dance thing that they had, like in the community, but she said she didn't know. But she does go. She does end up going, and because she wanted to ask Dina out to go, but she didn't. But Dina is there at the dance, and she's been drinking, so she ends up dancing with Ellie, and Ellie is like, "Everybody's staring at us." And she's like, maybe they're jealous of you, whatever, like that. So then Dina ends up kissing Ellie, which offends one of the other guests, and he says it's a family event. Dina says she's sorry. uh, And then, they start to walk away. The guy calls them dykes. Ellie turns around and is about to confront him when Joel pushes the guy and tells him to leave. And then, after asking Ellie if she's okay, Ellie says, she doesn't need his fucking help. And she walks home and notices Joel sitting on the porch with her guitar, and she walks into the garage. And the episode ends with Abby and her group approaching a settlement. So that was a recap of the episode, and what I could say is the episode had like a somber kind of just feeling to it. I think it's for somebody like me who played both games and beat both games and is a fan of the franchise. I know what's coming, and for people who haven't seen it, they don't. So it's kind of like a somber feeling of, oh shit, they don't know what's about to happen, but I do, and it's kind of a bit painful. But the performances were good. It's a good start to the season. It's just building up. It's like a slow burn, I feel. And it's cool though, like we got to see a bit more of what goes on in the community, like how Joel's kind of, I guess, like a construction worker slash like electrician and all this stuff. Like, does a lot more for the community. And so, with strong performances, it wasn't really, like too crazy acting. Like I said, everybody's just kind of doing their own thing. I'm seeing more and more of Ellie through Bella's performances. That was something a lot of people were concerned about with the first season. So, anyways, I give this episode 9 out of 10. And what I'm going to be doing is each and every single week an episode comes out, I'm going to do another recap review and, upload it for you guys. So, that's what I'm going to do, a weekly series with series like Devil May Cry that all the episodes are released at once. I'll just do a season review as one big video. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I enjoy making these. I'm excited for episode 2. I hope you guys are also. And if you would like to see more, make sure you leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And click that notification bell so you do not miss any more videos. I will see you guys when I see you guys. Peace.